I chose open adoption because I wanted to keep in contact with my baby, and I wanted to know the adoptive parents as well.
I knew that I wasn't in a place in my life where I was capable of taking on a child.
It was important to my son's birth mother and I to be involved in the life of our son.
We definitely wanted to remain in contact with our daughter, and that was really important to us.
I was born to a young mother, so she decided that it would be best if I was placed in a stable family.
Because I do know my birth mom, and if I didn't know that, then there's a big part of me that would still be a mystery.
I believe we chose open adoption because we wanted to be able to have that ongoing communication with his birth family, specifically his birth mother. We wanted to be able to ask questions if anything medically came up.
There's no secrets, there's no, unknowns, really.
We wanted our kids to know their birth parents.
They'd know potentially who their birth parents were. Their birth parents would know that they were in a safe place, so the birth parents didn't feel like they were cut off from anything.
We wanted our child to grow up confident, someone who, we wanted her to believe in herself and to know who she was, and through an open adoption she'd have a connection with her birth mother.
Open adoption is actually beneficial for all three parties involved. For the child, it allows them to grow up knowing who they are and to be proud and confident about their adoption story and how they became a family. For the birth parents, it allows them to see their child happy and healthy, which simply reaffirms that they did make the right decision and allows them to heal and move on in a healthy way. For adoptive parents, it actually is very reassuring, which is surprising to some people. But knowing the birth parent, knowing where she's living, what she's doing, simply where her life is at the moment, and when you're going to have your next contact, alleviates the fear of, where is she? Does she regret her decision? Is she trying to figure out a way to come see the baby without me knowing? It makes it a natural relationship. There are many fears in open adoption, both on the side of the birth parents and the adoptive parents. Adoptive parents fear that maybe this will confuse the child and the child won't know who the, quote, real parents are. And the truth is that children who grow up in open adoption are actually less confused about who their real parents are, because it's the adoptive parents. They've never had any other parents, and they know who their birth parent is and what role that person plays in their life.
Here at the IAC, we have clients from all walks of life. We have diversity with regards to ethnicity, age, family composition. We work with same-sex couples and singles. We have no limitations on age. We don't discriminate with regards to religious practices or beliefs, and we try to make our services available to everybody over a wide socioeconomic status.
We chose open adoption after doing research, and we felt that this was the best opportunity for us. We wanted to have that connection with the birth mother to get information and to answer the questions of our children.
The biggest fear for us was that we weren't going to get picked because we were gay and Jewish. As it turned out, we got picked twice, so it all worked out.
I chose the Michelle's because I went to several profiles, and I found that Stephen and Lane really had something I was looking for. They already had Yoni, and they were just a loving and together couple. Yeah, my first meeting with the Michelle's was a little scary because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I just wanted my child to be okay and to be loved, and once I saw them and once I met the Michelle's, that's all that comes from them is just love.
We were really lucky because Lexi was just wonderful. We've always had a great open relationship. It's pick up the phone and call. Also, it's, hey, we haven't seen you in a while, let's get together, what can we do? We're not just friends, we're family, truly in the whole sense of the word, that we all look out for each other and try to make sure that we're, the well-being of everybody, especially Shy, is first on our agenda.
For kids, family is family. Kids know who love them. I think when we started, we had no idea what this would be like, and now we're 6 years later, and it's wonderful.
We chose open adoption because when we got married, we thought we were going to get pregnant right away. And after, I'd say 3 years of infertility treatments and double miscarriages, we decided that wasn't the path that we wanted to go down. We just wanted to basically be parents. We chose open adoption because we didn't want our child to have any identity crisis. As we went through the process and spoke to the counselors at IAC, we became more comfortable that we didn't have to be afraid of this process or afraid of what would happen after our baby was born.
My process choosing a family, I pick 5 families out of like all the families that I've seen. So the ones I thought were like more fun or like I would see I connecting with. So I chose the 5 and then emailed them all. And then the ones that I felt like when I got back the answer, when I told them about myself, the ones I feel like I got closer to, I talked to them on the phone, and I talked to like 3 on the phone, and the ones that I connected with better was George and Larissa.
So the hospital experience was pretty surreal because, not having given birth myself, that's probably as close as you would probably get to giving birth. So we were with her for the 12 hours of labor.
They stayed in there through the whole process because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning and I didn't have them till the next day at 1. And they stayed there through the whole time. George was in the back taking pictures and Larissa helped me push. Her and my mom helped me push the baby out.
When I held Gavin for the first time at the hospital when he was born, I would think to myself like, oh, this is our son. This is the baby that we're going to bring home. And what was unique about our hospital situation was that they have this bonding, ritual, I guess, at the hospital or exercise where they put you have skin on skin between the mother and the baby, and and the birth mother and Gavin's birth mother decided, that I was going to participate in that, experience, and I was right next to her doing that, and she was able to see that, initial bonding between Gavin and I.
I didn't feel no sadness from the hospital room because I knew what I was doing. I knew it was the decision I was making. So I felt like it wasn't a bad thing. I just felt like, okay, this is right. And they let her do skin to skin with him so he can learn her scent. And I thought that was like the best thing ever, so he won't feel like he doesn't know her, and that's good. And they let him stay in the room with them the whole night.
We always question, how does she really feel? Does she regret her decision? Is she sad about it? But as more time goes on, we are beginning to understand that she's very content with her decision.
The biggest high that I've had through this experience is just watching Gavin grow up. Watching this little child that we brought home who weighed like 6 pounds and couldn't do anything, to holding his own bottle, to crawling, to walking, to running, to just getting into everything, and it's just happening every day. And I'm sure tomorrow will be something different. I mean, I wouldn't give that up for the world.
Originally, I chose the adoptive parents that I chose because I knew that I wanted to have somebody who had a background that was similar to mine, so that when I felt like I chose the Horgans, it was because they would raise my son the way that I would hope to have raised my son, and they would do things with him that I would like to have done with him, like traveling, and they would raise him Catholic, and they would go and get to experience the world together like I wish that I could have done with him.
The first call with Ty was very refreshing because she had her feet firmly on the ground in terms of what she wanted to do.
When I was getting ready to go to the hospital, I was very nervous, and not necessarily because I was placing my child for adoption, but because I was going into labor. But after that entire experience, it became one of those situations where I knew what I was doing was the right choice, and I knew that it was what had to be done, but it was really overwhelming. It was really difficult to be holding my son in my arms and know that in 48 hours, he wasn't going to be my son anymore. And I was gonna be passing him on to another family who was gonna do a much better job than I ever could have done. It was hard, but it was something that I knew I had to accept because there really wasn't any other choice for me.
Carmel, Ty's mother, who is such a wonderful person, she came out and she says, "Congratulations on the birth of your son." Well, it was the most loving moment. For me, it was, I don't think I've ever experienced a moment where a child was surrounded by so much love on all sides. All of Shane's family were represented there. They were part of the celebration. And for us, we felt, wow, this kid has got a great start in life.
My relationship with the adoptive family, my birth son, is one of total respect and understanding, and we communicate as often as everybody feels comfortable with. And if I feel like I need to spend time with him, they respect that, and we do things that we want to do, and we get to know each other, and it's comfortable, and there's not a lot of pressure. It's just like having an extra extended family, really. My relationship with my son is good. He is very rambunctious and all over the place, and he's very cute and full of life. And so it's nice when I get to spend time with him and I get to feel like a child myself, and I get to play with him, and there's not any kind of confusion over who I might be in his life. I'm just there, and everybody's fine with that.
The only thing I can say is if you want to be parents, go to IAC, because they make it happen. They make it happen. That's how I feel. They make it happen.
Well, the IAC is probably like a bigger part of my family because they actually brought me to the Mishal's. They were actually very welcoming and very comforting on both ends of the spectrum. If you would like to keep your child, they will try to help you and encourage you to do that. And if not, they will find the best people for you to place your child with. And they'll be there every step of the way.
And IAC's really stepped up to the plate and went beyond our expectations and sent our trusted adoption counselor out to help us. So she not only provided support to Sarah, which Sarah really benefited from, but she's provided support to us and helped us navigate the process and helping the placement go through. So we're really appreciative of IAC's work.
I chose the IAC because they made me feel better. I had great people to talk to, and I knew they cared, and they made me feel like they cared. And I don't think I could have went through an adoption if it wasn't with the IAC.
IAC has been wonderful. They've been there to answer our questions, to provide a shoulder to cry on when things were rough, in the process.
We have no complaints about IAC, and everything, any questions we ever had were answered, and we felt that we were really given a voice and able to talk about whatever concerns we had.
We really like the atmosphere at IC because everybody's real and authentic, professional, but not like playing a role, so that was nice.
And I appreciated at IAC how there were so many other adoptive parents in the staff, so when you're asking a question, you got a real answer from their experience.
I think I was also afraid of maybe not having a connection with the child because he wasn't biological, and I think everyone's probably afraid of that, so I thought I'd mention that I had an instant connection with Everett that was just as powerful as a connection I had with my biological children, which I had only 7 months after. And I was able to see the difference that when I met Everett for the first time, it was a very powerful connection, and I felt instantly that he was supposed to be my son, and that was really nice, and that was all I ever knew of that feeling at first. And then 7 months later, along came our second child, which was biological, and I had the same exact feeling. It certainly came from a different place. It didn't feel as much like I was meeting the child for the first time. It was almost like he'd kind of always been there, but the feeling was definitely the same. And I forget that Ev's adopted all the time.
Totally.
So that fear, which I think is totally natural, totally goes away.
And it's almost like, IAC has the mission statement really of, transforming the lives of birth mothers, children, and the adoptive family. And I think it really is almost like a protective cocoon.